I call this meeting in order. I have some good news to announce before we start. Wayne Memorial's Lady Zebras won tonight 50-28 for Bedford. They're going to be making their second trip to the Final Four for high school. So that's really great news. So if we can have everybody stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mayor Racy.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Porter.
Here.
Councilman Miller.
Present.
Councilman Webster.
Here.
Councilman Dowd.
Here.
Councilwoman Skiff.
Here.
Councilman Wagner.
Here.
A quorum is present. Number one, approve the agenda.
Mayor, I would like to
Councilman
approve
Webster.
the agenda, but I would like to move item 8L, approve the appointment of Ryan Strong to the position of Wayne Police Chief immediately following the approval of minutes of March 5th, 2019, and remove items 3A, 3B, 3C from the agenda as public hearings for ordinances are only necessary for rezoning, lot splits, or new fees per city charter. I'd also like to change item 8E to read Veterans Park and or Gowdy Park.
Would you read?
A second.
Okay. Any other thing? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 2, City Council minutes, regular meeting of March 5th, 2019.
Move to approve.
Support.
Any questions?
Excuse me, who was support for that? Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 8L, approve the appointment of Ryan Strong to the position of Wayne Police Chief.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations. Ryan.
Raise your-
Ryan Strong,
I, Ryan Strong,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Michigan,
the Constitution of the State of Michigan,
and the Charter and ordinances of the City of Wayne,
and the Charter and ordinances of the City of Wayne,
and that I will faithfully perform the duties of
and that I will faithfully perform the duties of
Police Chief
Police Chief
in and for the City of Wayne
in and for the City of Wayne,
to the best of my ability, so help me God.
to the best of my ability. I'd like to thank the mayor, members of council, and the city manager for giving me this opportunity. I intend to reward your confidence with hard work and integrity for the rest of my career. I'd like to thank my wife and children for their endless love and support, particularly over the last few weeks. My mother is also here tonight. She taught me the values of hard work and integrity that I just mentioned, along with the benefits of a career in public service. My uncle, Kevin Courtney, drove all the way from Big Rapids to be here tonight. I've been lucky to have him in my life. Much of what I've learned about leadership and law enforcement has been from him. Retired Chief Mike Sumeracki is here tonight as well. He hired me in 1999. I've met few better men in my life than him. Thank you also to my good friend Al Masiak for his personal and professional guidance over the years. All the past leaders of this department have helped to build a highly respected law enforcement organization. I'm humbled to follow in their footsteps. To the men and women of the Wayne Police Department, thank you all for what you do. Our department would not be what it is without your service. I will work hard to give you the same opportunities that I've had over my career. Serving the community is one of our top priorities in law enforcement. Please just remember to make yourselves and your families a priority as well. Thank you.
That's nice support from his department.
Very well. That's very nice. I'm sure. Okay. All right.
Freeze.
You can barely see over the dais, let alone get you in the picture.
Right.
Isn't that the way it always goes?
Former police chiefs. That's cool.
Item 4A, approve the bid award for weed cutting on private property to be paid by the general fund ordinance enforcement budget. Approval subject to a written contract acceptable to both the city and the vendor.
So moved.
Bidder, Scooby's Lawn Care, Westside, Michigan, amount $785. Bidder, Brock Sweeping Inc., Riverview, Michigan, amount $3,900.
So moved.
Support.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 5A, first reading of ordinance 2019-2, amendments to include chapter 620.02 and 620.99 regarding recreational marijuana and to prescribe certain penalties as are applicable as described in chapter 620.99.
Okay. We need a
Motion to approve.
Support.
open the hearing. Open the hearing.
Order and skip.
We're
Go
doing
ahead.
the public hearing first. Do
Yeah.
you want me to do the presentation before the public hearing?
There is no public hearing.
I didn't think
I'm
so.
sorry.
Okay.
Okay. I thought I missed
Yeah.
a memo.
Yep.
I didn't think there was. Okay. Basically what you have before you tonight is the first reading of an ordinance amendment. And as the city clerk mentioned, public hearings are held for rezonings or things of that nature that have to do with zoning. So this is strictly a change to the code of ordinances. We have looked at this, we being the city administration have looked at whether we should opt in or opt out of recreational marijuana. It is the recommendation, and Mr. Hitchcock, actually our attorney, has been working with us on this. There are so many unknowns, and I did share information with all of you as far as businesses that can start, micro businesses. As you know, we have approved medical marijuana for facilities. If we went with the recreation, micro businesses can pop up. There's just a lot of things that the administration felt were unclear at this point on a state level with recreational marijuana. The police chief was also of the opinion that we should opt out at this time. As you all know, the state has indicated if we do not opt out, we're automatically opted in. So we will do the first reading, the second reading of the ordinance, and that's when it would be adopted if the council chooses to do so. And I would direct any questions specifically to Mr. Hitchcock.
Any questions? Yeah. Mayor Pro Tem?
All right. I have a couple ideas on this, or a couple of thoughts on recreational marijuana. I was told last week, I bet you never used it. And based on your knowledge on this, you based your knowledge on everybody else's comments. A few lawyers' opinions on this doesn't matter. Let me explain to all of you, this is about our city, not whether I care if you drink alcohol, do marijuana, or just max out on French fries every day. I do not care about any of the products that are used, but I do represent the residents of our city and will make my decision based on what I feel is best for our city in totality. This proposition as passed is very ambiguous, vague, redundant in parts, terms referring to possible zoning such as unreasonably impractical. Make interpreting and enforcing this act exactly that, unreasonably impractical. We can't do it. As it stands today, it is just a law, an act that is so vague that we don't all understand it. We can't get it. We can't grasp it. So what I'm asking for is that we vote to opt out until later on, after the state has made some rules that we can actually understand and interpret. Having said this, I have no problem with coming back to this. Reconsider this, opt out, and maybe go in. We can go in at any time. All we have to do is rewrite the ordinance. And so I will be opting out. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else?
Mayor Racy, I have a couple questions.
Sure.
I'd like to direct this through to the attorney. How will this opting out affect our status currently today in the community? Will it mean eliminating any paraphernalia sales within party stores, drugstores, etc.? Will that inhibit the ability for private residents to be able to grow their own needs within their private property, etc.?
It certainly doesn't prohibit private residents from growing their own marijuana up to the limits of the statute that they can grow. And as to the paraphernalia, certainly the facilities that you've authorized for medical marijuana could sell paraphernalia related to the medical, but you wouldn't have any sales going on of paraphernalia related to recreational use.
Precisely like we see currently now in gas stations and in party stores.
I'm not sure what you're seeing in those stores, but if it's related to
smoke apparatuses, etc.
Well, it depends on whether there's a lot of tobacco-related smoking devices out there that are legal, or the vape ones that aren't tobacco and they aren't marijuana either. So those are still legal. But if it was paraphernalia related to marijuana use, that would be prohibited.
Mayor Racy, is there any other implications that will limit the community until we decide otherwise further down that you're aware of?
I mean, no, the only, I suppose, possibility is a saturation issue, that if enough places were established in other communities and you opted in at a later date, there may or may not be a demand for any recreational sales facilities in the city if there were enough of a saturation to satisfy the market in other communities. But there's also, I know there's a lot of communities around you who are opting out also, so I don't foresee that as being a problem.
Mayor Racy, through the chair, my other question would be, is this possibly going to, which the current medical facilities that will be established in Wayne, will that protect their market share?
Well, it doesn't affect their medical marijuana sales, but they, under the Act, if you have a medical marijuana provisioning center, you also could get a license for a recreational sales at the same location if you were allowed to in the city. So it might negatively affect them if their business plan is they wanted to sell recreational marijuana too, then that may negatively affect their business.
And through the chair, this would not change the current regulations that we have regarding distance or the number of dispensaries within our community as well?
No, because all the ones you have now are under the Medical Marijuana Facilities Act, and those those criteria are not going to change anything you have in an ordinance already or anything that's in the state law with regards to medical marijuana facilities is unchanged.
And then my last question will be then this, is that down the road, as this starts to pan out with all the state level decisions regarding this industry, would the changing of permit with the medical dispensaries, the same would apply to recreational dispensaries?
Sorry, I didn't follow you on that question.
Okay. Currently, it's the medical dispensaries that are now allowed. Now, if the state goes further to deregulate it further and just be a recreational dispensaries per se, would the perimeters that we currently have established for medical stay the same for the recreational?
Well, no, not necessarily. They wouldn't. You could establish a different set of rules for recreational marijuana if you wanted to, or you could go back, if you wanted to have the same rules for it and you were going to opt in, you could go back and amend to make and have your recreational marijuana be consistent with the parameters that you already have in the medical marijuana area. Okay. But you can have a separate program of where they can be and what the rules are going to be, that as long as they don't conflict with the state act, and of course you do have that ambiguous provision Councilman raised earlier, that of whether or not it reasonably interferes with it in some way. So, but barring that, you can set your own rules if a time and place came where you wanted to allow recreational marijuana facilities in the city.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions? Okay, I want to just say a couple things. I agree with the Mayor Pro Tem on this. I think we got to be very careful with how we approach this and make sure that everything's in order with the state before you just jump in. It's a lot easier to go forward than jump in and try to back out and cost ourselves a lot of money in the process if we were to go the other way. So this makes a lot of sense, and I agree with the administration's recommendation on this. Any questions from the audience? Okay.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members. I'm Charles Murphy of the Clark Hill Law Firm. Previously, back in the 90s, I worked with Mr. Hitchcock at a different law firm, but I represent Wayne PRV, which is one of the medical marijuana licensees. I've studied the Recreational Act and written articles on it. I've given lectures to the business law section of the state bar on the statute. I believe it gives the city the power to opt out or to opt in and to limit and define the type of facility that you're going to have. I understand the concerns about ambiguity. There is a rules committee working on the permanent rules right now. One of my partners sits on that committee, and that committee would welcome any comments from the city of Wayne with respect to concerns it might have. But I think the concern that certain types of licensees or facilities will pop up is overbroad. For example, on the micro business type facility, that's defined as a licensed facility under the state statute. So, and the municipality has the authority to decide whether or not it's going to allow that type of facility. So a micro business could not just open up in the city of Wayne without the city having an ordinance approving that type of a license. With respect to the zoning issue that Mayor Pro Tem raised, there are various zoning provisions in the state statute which basically provide for spacing requirements to schools and other types of spacing requirements which the city has the authority under the statute to modify and make them shorter, but not necessarily more extensive. I know there were some concerns about policing and safety factors, and I looked up a couple studies which I can provide to the city administration with respect to the experiences in the state of Washington and Colorado with respect to improved clearance rates among police departments once they're not focused on possession of marijuana type offenses there's actually been a better clearance rate for violent crime and property crime in the states of Washington and Colorado. And with respect to crash fatalities, there's also been a study of those two states with respect to that, and they haven't increased as a result of legalization. And lastly, I would just remind the council that 66% of the voters in the city of Wayne voted in favor of recreational legalization of marijuana. So I'm willing to continue to work with the city with respect to providing information as this process plays out at the state level. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Eric?
In chapter 620.02, it says no person may possess or use marijuana other than those who are part of the medical marijuana law. It also goes on to say the same applies for the medical marijuana or the recreational marijuana as far as taxing goes. Laura, the state agency, hasn't voted on that yet. They're going to do so this fall. Until then, there's no way for somebody to legally get marijuana recreationally other than have it gifted to them. Right now, if that happens, they legally can have it, but it looks like the new ordinance we're passing is going to prevent that. So in 45 days after it passes, can they still legally have marijuana? Or would that be a criminal offense where they get fined $500 for having it?
About individuals having it?
Yep.
Oh, individuals can possess the amount of recreational marijuana that's permitted under the Act ever since December 6th is when the Act became effective.
Right. I understood that, but where I'm confused at is where it says no person shall possess or use. Are individuals persons?
But if you go down to the back end of it, then it says, except for if you're doing it in compliance with the Medical Marijuana Act, the Medical Marijuana Facilities Licensing Act, or the Michigan Regulation and Taxation Marijuana Act, the three acts we have in our state. If you're possessing it individually consistent with those acts, then you're not going to be in violation of the no possession.
Is it possible to possess it legally under the Regulation and Taxation Act, since that hasn't gone into effect yet?
Well, it has gone into effect.
Right, but Laura,
there's no regulations on facilities yet, but an individual's right to possess the amount that's permitted in the Act. Again, as long, you can't do it in public, right. But that's in effect.
All right. Thank you for clarifying that. Appreciate it.
Anybody else? Okay. So go ahead and close the first reading. So we just close the first reading.
Yeah, you just approved the first reading.
Okay. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 5B, first reading of ordinance 2019-03, amendments to include Chapter 1040, the illicit discharge elimination program, and to establish and regulate the contributions of pollutants, prohibit illicit connections and discharges, and to establish procedures necessary to ensure compliance with this article.
Move to approve. Do we need a motion to approve? Move to approve.
First reading, yeah.
Second.
Okay. Mr. Byton, do you want to come forward?
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. Before you, you have the first reading for the illicit discharge elimination program. This is a program or an ordinance that will help us pursue people that are illegally dumping contaminants into our storm sewer system. As you know, we have two separate systems for discharge. We have sanitary that takes water with contaminants in it and cleans that through the Great Lakes Water Authority. And we have our storm sewer system, which is only rainwater, and that goes into our rivers. And in an effort to keep that clean, the DEQ is requiring us to have ordinance in our ordinance specific to keeping pollutants out of our clean water system that goes into the river.
Any questions from council? Any questions from the audience? Okay. Motion to end the first reading, or all in favor of ending the first reading? That'd be.
Do we make a motion to?
Oh, the motion's already there. All in favor? Yeah.
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 5C, first reading of ordinance 2019-04, amendments to Chapter 1400 to include Chapter 1473, Sections 1473.01 through 1473.15 regarding vacant property.
Move to approve.
Support.
Okay. Mike?
Mayor, members of the council, communities have been faced with a challenge of properties being vacant in their community for long periods of time. And that's led to some depressed conditions in areas that we have tried to figure out how to work to improve and cause movement. Several months ago, Tom Porter and Susan Rowe and Mike Bosnick got together. We met as a group to try and help figure out what to do with properties that are vacant for long periods of time in our community. And so through those discussions, there was a lot of hard work put in by especially Tom Porter and Mike Bosnick as well to develop a system wherein we would encourage properties to move along to if somebody has a property that's been vacant for a long time, to give them incentive to move that property for the health of our community. And so that's what we're looking at here tonight.
Okay.
Mayor?
Yep.
I was going to try and address this, but Mike said it pretty well in a short amount of time. This ordinance is something that we've needed for a long time. I first proposed it approximately 6 years ago, and it's been through a lot of hands since then. I thank everybody for the help. But this is to encourage the people. We need the people to start fixing up these vacant properties and either leasing them out, selling them, or whatever is necessary. And I concur 100% with Mike. We need it. We need it bad. So I will be voting for this. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Mayor Racy, to the chair, Mr. Biden. I long awaited to see this come to us. My only concern is the provision in there regarding the exception of storage. Can you please explain that further? And right now I'm looking at this as a potential loophole of circumventing of the intent that we have worked so hard to activate more prosperity within our downtown in particular.
Bring me to that section if you would, please.
There was a point in here regarding storage, and that's where I felt the sense that this was a where storage is legally allowed. I would go to page 2 to the actual second paragraph. Vacant properties is defined as a property, building, or structure that remains unoccupied for a period of excess of 30 days and or exhibits evidence of vacancy as defined here within. Vacant properties does not mean property that is temporarily unoccupied for a period of less than 180 days while the residents are away on vacation, tending to personal matters or business, and does not harbor evidence of vacancy. Vacant property does not include structures that are used for storage purposes and located in an area where storage is legally allowed as a principal use of zoning district, where the use of is in compliance with all appropriate provisions of city ordinances, building and fire, codes, pertaining to storage use.
So we do have storage facilities throughout our community. Those are active, viable businesses. I think if we had somebody that put a box or two in their building and claimed that they were using that as storage, I think that we would take issue with that. But we do have to allow for storage facilities within our community, and they are healthy for our community also.
Without a doubt. And what you just pointed out, you know, that's my concern, is that, you know, I threw a couple boxes over here and we're using this building for storage. I mean, they're gonna, I mean, is there any sort of guidelines that we can apply to determine that the actual use per se? How do we avoid that? How are we going to be able to avoid that?
I think that those issues would be pretty obvious. We could, you know, if somebody was trying to skirt our ordinance, that way we have the court system to help us sort out what real intent is and what deceptive intent is. So I would hope that nobody would do that, but if they tried to do that, we would have that system in place.
Has that question been legally asked?
Not by me to the city attorney, so I could do that between the first and second reading if you would like, if that's acceptable.
I'd like to keep this, I think a lot of work has gone into it, as Mayor Pro Tem Porter has indicated, and I'd like to make sure we cross all our T's on this.
Very good.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. I just want to say I want to thank Mayor Pro Tem for all of his work. I know that it's been a long time, and all the staff that have worked on this to get this to happen. I do think it's trying to just get people to do the right thing. We can't just have things stop because people don't want to work with their buildings, and I think this could help move the city forward for the future. So I think it's a great idea, and go from there. Any questions from the audience? Okay. All in favor of the first reading?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 5D, first reading of ordinance 2019-05 to repeal Chapter 430 of the City Wayne Code of Ordinances regarding bicycles.
So moved.
Support.
Okay. Lori?
Good evening again, Council. As you all know, we're going to be continuing the process of becoming a redevelopment-ready community. Through that process, we're going to be looking at all of our ordinances, our master plan and zoning once we're able to afford to have that done. This is an ordinance that was brought forward by one of the council members, a couple of the council members actually, suggested for removal. It deals specifically with licensing of bicycles. This is an item that it's chapter 430 under bicycles, and the idea here would be to repeal this chapter, basically stating that an individual does not have to register their bicycle.
Okay. Any comments or questions?
Yeah, I was one of the ones that brought this forward. I'd just like to read a section of this toward the end of it, 430.08. Any bicycle may be impounded by the police division and released upon payment of license and registration fees. Basically, I know it's not enforced, but right now, if your kid is riding a bicycle along the road and gets stopped by the police and the bike isn't registered, the police do have the right to just take it from them. And I know it's not enforced, but I just don't like this ordinance the way it's written, and it could be abused very easily. So that's why I brought this forward.
Mayor, question.
Yep.
Do we have any idea how many bicycles are registered right now?
Good question. Good question.
Zero. I couldn't speak to the last time a bicycle was registered in Wayne. The police department has no.
Is she sitting in the front row?
I'll take a look after the meeting, sir.
Good one.
I figured you're the last one.
Anybody else?
Can Can I, Mayor? Okay. Yes. I was actually the other council member. Phil actually brought it up, and he just let me tag along. So I like that they're giving me credit, but I just really kind of tagged along. So, but the thing that concerned me about the ordinance was that even though, you know, when speaking to the chief, that it's not necessarily something that is the ticket that they give you is not for an amount. You still have to pay the court fee. So the citation that they would give you is still basically, you're still going to be charged at least $25. So I don't really, I've lived in Wayne since 2001, and I did not know that I had to register my bicycle, so I'm illegal myself. So I don't think many people know about it. It's something that's not being utilized. If you're not enforcing it, I think my reason for going along with Phil on this was because if you're not enforcing it, then why have it? So.
Any other questions?
Mayor Racy, through the chair, please. Just to point out, this does not mean that you should not get some sort of serial number on the bike or keep track of your bike for in the case that it gets stolen. Because part of registration was to help prevent theft or to recover theft. And that was really in the initial intent way back when. So that doesn't mean that we don't continue to be more proactive in trying to protect our property when it comes to bicycles. I just wanted to make that point.
Okay. Anybody else? I just wanted to make a comment. I just want to thank Phil for working through the process. He had brought it to my attention, and I had asked him to get another council person, and then they met with the chief, and they went through that process just a little differently, how to bring this about. And I felt it really expedited things by going through the process behind the scenes the right way. And I appreciate you guys doing it the right way. So thank you. Anybody from the audience? All in favor of the first reading?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 5E, first reading of ordinance 2019-06, the rezoning of 35540 Michigan Avenue.
Motion to approve.
Support. Second.
Lori?
Council, on March 19th, I'm sorry, March 19th, I apologize, at the March meeting of the Planning Commission, they recommended rezoning of the property at 35540 Michigan Avenue. That is the former, I call it the Wayne Eagle building on Michigan Avenue, right at the corner of Elizabeth and Michigan there. There's a group of physicians that have come forward. They have proposed to make this a skilled nursing facility. They would have 20 to 30 inpatients for short-term and memory care, short-term rehab as well. They're going to add inside. All their work would be interior, a kitchen, a workroom, a walk-in cooler, a freezer, and a dining area. They'd use the second floor as office and training space. They'll be seeking to employ 70 to 75 individuals, which is great for our downtown, that we would have that many new people in our downtown, in addition to their loved ones that would visit as well. When you look at the way this property is zoned, it is zoned B5 Business Extensive. It does allow for this type of use. However, anything that is not written in an ordinance, it is not expressly written in the ordinance, it's strictly prohibited. And since they are proposing overnight stays, it was the recommendation of the former planner, Mr. Miller, that we look at doing a conditional rezoning on this property. So that is what has been recommended to you. This evening would be the first reading of that ordinance, and the next meeting would be the second reading along with the adoption. Should that pass, then the petitioner would move forward with the necessary steps as far as zoning approval and getting all of their information submitted to the Building and Engineering Department.
Any questions? Any questions from the audience? All in favor of the first reading?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Item 6, appointments to boards, commissions, and committees. Item 6A, approve the reappointment of Kurt Burton, the Dangerous Buildings Board of Appeals.
Move to approve.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 7, communications and reports. 7A, February 2019 Revenue and Expenditure Report.
Wish of council.
Receive and file.
Item 8, general items for consideration. 8A, approve the revised personnel rules. They were posted March 1st through the 10th, 2019.
So moved.
Support.
Gary?
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Ms. Leslie and I, as well as the city manager, have worked very hard on these rules. We presented them to you, I think, back in November. We have posted the revised personnel rules consistent with the charter for 10 days. The handbook is ready to be adopted. The revised personnel rules are ready to be adopted. Our recommendation would be that the effective date of the updated handbook would be April 1st. There are two collective bargaining agreements that require posting of the the updated handbook for 5 days prior to going into effect. So that would allow the city to post the revised handbook consistent with those two collective bargaining agreements. So I'm ready to answer any questions that you may have regarding the handbook. I think we did not make too many changes from what we discussed back in November. I think the biggest change was we added a policy to account for the passage of the Paid Medical Leave Act, which was passed by the lame duck legislature at the end of 2018. And that was the insert that you were provided on Friday.
Any questions?
Mayor Racy, through the chair, to the attorney. I am glad to see us taking some of the recommendations from the Workplace Assessment Evaluation Investigation Report. One thing that I have, it may seem insignificant to some, but I find it to be significant for others, is the lack of not utilizing the verbiage sexual orientation as opposed to just the word sex. As indicated, sex is a gray area of identifying that class or status group, of ensuring that they have those same protections of retaliation, discrimination, etc. And I would ask the council again to iterate that words of sexual orientation be included in this handbook. Many private industry, public municipalities have already enacted on such well over this past decade. We want to encourage employees to apply in our municipality from all walks of life. We want to recognize and respect all walks of life in this community. Another thing that I found that I was concerned about was the word shall. When it was used, when there can become a time where a claim of discrepancy with the city manager, personnel director, or any head department, that the word shall is a gray area when it comes to the requirement, I believe, a requirement of the council to seek outside legal advice or consultation or investigation regarding that matter. I believe the city policy, state and federal laws require us. So I think the word shall is a gray area. We are bounded to follow and protect and to determine fact-finding information regarding a claim. So those are two things that I find that I would ask the council to consider in this updated manual.
Reference to what shall and what page?
Actually, it's in two locations, but I'm more particularly concerned with on page 2, last paragraph. I'm sorry, that was in reference to the clarification of what sex pertains to in particular. I'm sorry, it is on page 5, the word shall. And also on the bottom paragraph of page 3.
Okay. Paragraph on page 5.
Yep, and that would be,
Guide us where you're concerned.
absolutely, is under F, the 3rd paragraph. More particularly, I wanted to point out the one that I have concern with is on page 3, the last paragraph.
We're skipped ahead. You're doing stuff on B. Is that? Yeah, she addressed both, but that's what I'm looking at the wrong thing because we were on
You're looking at the handbook.
Yeah. Okay. This was about personal rules first.
And really, my concern about the word shall really pertains particularly with when it is the council's responsibility. And shall, in legal terminology, if I'm not mistaken, can be interpreted in multiple ways.
I don't believe so. I believe shall.
Terminology or the definition of shall.
No,
Does not necessarily mean require.
It is generally interpreted as it's a requirement. There's no exceptions. That's why we use the word shall as opposed to may.
Okay.
Which may means, you know, council can choose to do it, council can choose not to do it. But that's why the word shall is used as frequently as it is in the handbook to remove that judgment and discretion from the decision maker.
Okay,
And
I
in this
appreciate
case,
that clarification.
Council would not have then the judgment and the discretion to not appoint outside legal counsel.
I appreciate that clarification because I want to ensure that it is a requirement and then that the definition of shall does imply that purpose. Thank you. And as well as the word sex, it can be just generally gray. What is that exactly referring to?
Well,
is it gender or is that referring to orientation?
Well, as we discussed back in November, the 2 statutes that your policy is based on, as we wrote it, are Title VII, which is the federal statute, and the Michigan Elliott-Larsen Civil Rights Act, which is the state version. Neither of those statutes currently include sexual orientation or gender identity as protected traits. They include gender or sex, and they're used interchangeably. Gender typically means male or female. Sex can be male or female, or it can also be used in terms of sexual, as in sexual harassment. It is certainly within council's ability to create a policy that is broader than what the federal and state statutes require. This is sort of the floor of civil rights protections that are offered by the applicable laws. There's nothing stopping council, if that's what council chooses to do, from expanding those protections. As it currently stands, though that protected trait is not one that is included in the federal and state civil rights statutes, which is why the policy was written the way it was.
Mayor Racy, through the chair.
Okay.
And that's why I would implore this council to seek broader and strengthening the absolute zero tolerance for any form of discrimination or aggression against any class or group of individuals, that we have that ability to. And as I said before, I think that many corporations and private industries have already embraced that in their workforce. We need to be able to make people comfortable, new employees, current employees, residents feel comfortable working in places without any fear, and that status needs to be included as well. Would I have any support from any council member in that manner?
I have to say I have to go with what has been recommended by the state and the federal level, and we'll honor that.
Me as well. I think that the statutes that are provided in the federal and the state also is something that we should adopt as well, and just leave it at that.
Okay. Any other questions? Any questions from the audience? Okay. Okay, first thing, approve the personnel rules. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
No.
Motion carries. And then, go ahead.
Item 8B, approve the employee handbook effective April 1st, 2019.
Move to approve.
Support.
Any questions on this? Any questions from the audience? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 8C, approve a resolution regarding the 2018 special assessment roll and call a public hearing for April 16th, 2019 at 8 p.m.
Motion to approve.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Discuss.
Item 8D, approve a resolution to declare April as Autism Awareness Month.
Move to approve.
Support.
Can I have the city clerk read this for us?
City of Wayne Resolution, April 2019 Autism Awareness Month. Each child is unique. We must recognize the individual gifts they share. Whereas autism or autism spectrum disorder refers to a broad range of conditions characterized by challenges with social skills, repetitive behaviors, speech, and nonverbal communication. An estimated 1 in 59 children in America are affected by varied degrees of autism. There is not one autism, but many subtypes, most influenced by a combination of genetic and environmental factors. And whereas the way in which those affected learn, think, and problem solve can range from highly skilled to severely challenged. Some may require significant support in their daily lives, while others may need less support and, in some cases, live entirely independent lives. And whereas there are several factors which may influence the development of autism and is often accompanied by sensory sensitivities and medical issues such as gastrointestinal disorders, seizures, or sleep disorders, as well as mental health challenges such as anxiety, depression, and attention issues. And whereas indicators of autism usually appear by age 2 or 3, some associated developmental delays can appear even earlier, and often it can be diagnosed as early as 18 months. As shown by research, early intervention leads to positive outcomes later in life. Now, therefore, be it resolved, I, John P. Racy, Mayor of the City of Wayne, on behalf of the City Council and all the citizens of Wayne, do hereby proclaim April 2019 as Autism Awareness Month to ensure acceptance and inclusions that result in true appreciation of the unique aspects of all people.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 8E, approve the use of Veterans Plaza and/or Gowdy Park for Main Street Wayne to host Downtown Days 2019 from Thursday, August 8th through Sunday, August 11th, 2019, utilizing the adjacent parking structure. The event will be open to the public on Friday, August 9th and Saturday, August 10th, 2019.
Move to approve.
Support.
Maxwell, did you guys have anything you wanted to say, or are you good? Okay. Any questions? Any questions from the audience? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 8F, approve agreement with Michigan Economic Development Corporation, MEDC, recognizing Wayne Street, Maine as a master-level Main Street community.
Move to approve.
Support.
Any questions from the council? Maxwell, do you have anything you want to say on this?
Good evening, Mayor and members of council. I'm proud and excited to stand before you tonight with our agreement with Michigan Main Street and the MEDC regarding our status as a master level Main Street community. We're asking that the city sign their portion of the agreement. I'm also excited to let you know that we just had our monthly board of directors meeting, and we've also approved the agreement for signature. So as soon as we're able to get the item going through tonight, we'll be proud to send this to Michigan Main Street. I think it's really a credit to our community. And when I've been sharing the news about this designation, it's not about our organization as a master level Main Street. It is the city of Wayne has become a master level community. And I think that's an important way to phrase and talk about all of the hard work that our volunteers, our board, and all of our supporters have done to bring us to this moment. So it's exciting for the organization, and I think more importantly, it's more exciting for the city of Wayne and the citizens of our community.
Congratulations. I know that this is something that we've all been working for and wanted to see, so this is a really good day to see this coming before us. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 8G, approve a resolution to terminate the current interlocal agreement concerning dispatch services with Westland, provided Wayne, Westland, Garden City, and Inkster all approve the consolidation with Dearborn.
So moved. Support.
Chief.
So this is the first step in the process of consolidating with Dearborn. We're currently in agreement with Westland, Inkster, and Garden City for the consolidated dispatch held at Westland. So this resolution is basically saying that agreement will be terminated if all four agencies move to Dearborn.
Any questions?
Through the chair. Yep. Chief, if you could give us a little bit more information about the CPIW that you sent us a little bit earlier.
Yes, sir. So that would reflect on the actual contract with Dearborn.
Okay.
So the first year is just the exact fee listed in the contract, which is $27,000. But in years 2 through 5, it will be based on the CPIW, which is basically just a way of looking at how much stuff costs the average Joe or Jane per year. So it could actually go up or it could actually go down. I believe I sent everyone a list of historical data of that CPIW. The highest it's ever gone up was 3.5% in the past 10 years, and that would represent a $980 increase per month for the city, but it would still be over $2,000 less than we're paying Westland. So no matter how you shake it, the city is going to be saving a significant amount of money.
Okay. Any other questions?
One question. I just want to clarify because I don't see where non-emergency is in the agreement. Can you clarify on how non-emergency will be handled for the city?
Yes, sir. So that will be status quo. Right now, we answer our own non-emergency calls. Our police service aides answer the non-emergency calls and enter them into the computer system, and they will still be doing so. So being that our dispatch is off-site now, and we're answering our own non-emergency calls, there will be very little changes in our operations other than the city will be paying less money.
Mayor. Mayor Pro Tem.
If I'm not mistaken, we handled Garden City's non-emergency calls also. Is that still going to be in there, or are they going to be separate?
No, sir. We'll still be handling Garden City's calls.
Okay, thank you.
Can I make a comment?
Yep.
A couple of months ago, Mayor and I, along with the then Chief Maciag, went to Dearborn and toured their facility. And it is a very impressive facility, and they can certainly handle the added calls, and they have room to expand also. they have the most up-to-date technology for dispatch technology. I didn't understand it all, but it was very impressive, and I think this is a very good move.
Thank you for mentioning that, Councilman. I've toured the facility myself. The technology they have is amazing. It will make our officers' lives easier.
Anybody else have a question? I just want to agree with that. I think it makes a lot of sense when multiple communities are on the same 911 service so that the 911 calls go to the same area.
Absolutely.
And I think it's a good thing for all of us. And I think it's actually getting better by doing this. And I'm very encouraged by that. So thank you.
Very good. Thank you.
Any other questions from the audience? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 8H, approve the contract for consolidated dispatch with the City of Dearborn on the condition that the cities of Westland, Garden City, and Inkster all approve their individual contracts as well, subject to the city attorney's approval as to substance and form.
Motion approved.
Support. Any questions? Any questions from the audience? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 8I, approve the emergency repair of DPW dump truck number 5 at Todd Wenzel GMC dealer in Westland for a cost of $10,760.65 to be paid out of the general fund.
Move to approve.
Support. Any questions? Any questions from the audience? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 8J, approve the 2019 weed cutting fees.
Motion to approve.
Support.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 8K, approve the Wayne Rotary's request to hold their 2019 annual concert in the Park Series in Gowdy Park on July 17th, 24th, 31st, August 7th, 14th, 21st, and 28th.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any questions?
Do we have a lineup for this year yet?
No.
No.
Any questions from the council?
Good evening, Mayor and Council and everyone else. I'm Sharon Bunnick on Sim Street. I read over this agreement, and it's something different than I've seen before. It's a very, very legal agreement. Usually we see the permit itself at this time of the year comes before council for approval. Will we see that again? Is this in lieu of the permit?
I think they'll issue the permit after this.
After, so this is just a legalese use.
Just that it's approved.
All I wanted to know.
Yep.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 9, administration reports.
Mayor, can you just give me just 1 second, Council? If I may.
Yep.
I just want to say thank you first on the administration reports from all of us to Eileen. You really stepped up. You helped us out. You really helped the staff transition. And I have heard nothing but wonderful things from everyone. We're going to miss you. We know you'll still be around on call if we need you.
You'll be in good hands.
Yes, I know we will, absolutely. But I just wanted to say thank you because I know you're retired. I know that you didn't have to do this for us, but it really it helped us get through the last couple months. It helped us take some time to find the right clerk, and I just wanted to say thank you. But more importantly, I wanted to let your sidekick over there, Kathy, the deputy clerk, Kathy Broge, come up, and I know Kathy wanted to say something.
Don't you make me cry, Kathy.
I'm having a hard time myself. So, my name's Kathy Broge. I am the deputy clerk, and when I was told at the council meeting that I did, when our former clerk left that day, I was really upset and scared and worried, and I was having a new boss within 24 hours. When I met Eileen and we went back to the office, it was an instant friendship, and that doesn't happen very often in our lives, whether it be in our personal life or our business life. And I just want to thank her. She's a friend forever. Tina is a protege of her, so I'm not concerned about my new now boss. But I just want to thank you, Eileen. It's been wonderful. I hope that we'll remain friends, go to lunch, whatever. And Tina, I appreciate you stepping forward as well. Everything happens for a reason. We went through a process and things just kept falling apart, and it was because we were waiting for Tina. So thank you again, and I look forward to working with you. And she's a great asset to the city. We're going to miss her. Thank you.
Thanks, Kathy. So on behalf of the entire city, that includes all of us, including the city council, we had this lovely bouquet made for you. And we just want to again say thank you for everything, and please don't be a stranger because we consider you a friend.
Thank you so much, Lisa. Thank you, everyone. If I may, Mayor Racy?
Sure.
I want to thank everyone. As I said last meeting, this staff in the city of Wayne, they have been tremendous. From everybody, from DPW workers to finance, to everybody in the city, the staff is wonderful. I could not have asked for two better people to work with than Kathy and Angie. Don't ever let them go. Don't ever let them retire. They're here forever. And I guarantee you that Tina Stanky is going to serve this city with distinction and integrity, I hope, for many years to come. You're very lucky to have her.
Thanks again. And I just wanted to thank council for helping to move the process forward with the chief's position. We had two wonderful candidates who tested, and I just want to say, thank you for being supportive of this. I think we went through the right process. Both candidates told me that MCO was an excellent learning process for them, and both plan to speak to MCO and do an exit interview with regards to the testing, which I think is very important. I myself learned a lot just from the outtake of getting information from MCO on what these gentlemen went through. And it was difficult, it was tough. They were put through stressful situations. But it was a real-time exercise that I think, we can just honestly say that we have, according to MCO, we have a very good future with our department. We have excellent, an excellent team there, and you can feel confident that we have the right people in place. So thank you for that. And congratulations to you, Chief. Look forward to working with you. We talk about 25 times a day, if not more. But I do appreciate, so far the leadership you've shown. And you have a wonderful department, and I wish all of you the best moving forward. I know we're going to see great things. Absolutely, absolutely, and I'm honored to work with you. And I noticed that I didn't get any updates, but Nancy, did you have any updates? I see you're here this evening. You can do them under administration reports, so we didn't get a chance to connect this week. So you're okay. Come on up. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Again, I apologize for not getting back with you and letting you know I was going to make it up to it. So I just want to do a couple quick announcements. Tomorrow is the Elder Law and Advocacy Center legal presentation. It will be at 12:30. It is at the Hype Recreation Center. They touch on a lot of things: wills, trusts, powers of attorney, etc. We did ask that people RSVP, but you can walk in. So if you decide you can make it, please do so. We would love to have you. And then Thursday, March 28th is the technology changing your experience, talking about when you buy a new car, all the different technologies that's in the car. If you don't know how to use them, they don't benefit you. This is free. It's done through AARP. It is only from 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. And again, it's Thursday, March 28th. We do ask that you call and make a reservation so that we know how many people, he knows how many seats, what type of material to bring so he can give to you. So please do that. And then we are starting another program. We've had this before. It was very successful. It is through Beaumont and the National Kidney Foundation. It is called Diabetes Prevention Program. Hundreds of people have, it's like 50% of new cases of type 2 diabetes can be prevented. So this program runs, they have an introductory thing on Thursday, April 4th from 6 to 7, again at HYPE. You just basically can come in and see what's what. You don't have to reserve for that, just show up and see if you like it. If you do, the sessions start on Thursday, April 18th from 6 to 7. You can register that night or you can register through Beaumont. They are asking that you register directly through them, but they'll give you that information that day. And then I'm going to skip except for one trip. We're starting a new program called Food and Friends. Basically, every second Thursday we are meeting at Nick's, Coney Island. We're meeting at 11:30. It's just an opportunity for somebody to get out and come have lunch and not have it alone. So you're welcome to join me. Everybody buys their own lunch. If this goes well, we're looking at taking time to invite different people to come to lunch. Maybe it would be DPW to talk about the recycling center. Maybe the mayor can come and have lunch. We will limit the time because it's meant to be social, but we're just trying to grow that so people have a chance to get out and socialize. And last but not least, the ARC Encounter, I want to remind everybody because it is an expensive trip. It's May 2nd and May 3rd. This is where you're actually going to go to the ARC. You're also going to visit the Creation Museum. If you're interested, again, you can find out all the information either in our newsletter, which is called the Kaboom. It's always in the front lobby or the foyer. It's also at HYPE. And we have a lot of businesses throughout Wayne that allow us to put these at their place of business so you can pick it up. So if you would do that, we would appreciate it. But all the programs that I'm running is right now currently at HYPE. And you can call me at 734-721-7460. And if you have questions, if I'm not available at the moment, please leave your name and number and I'll get back with you as soon as I can. And that's all I got. Any questions? We're good? All right, thank you.
I see Ann is here from the museum this evening as well.
Thank you for having us. I'm Ann Zimmerman with the Wayne Historical Society and Museum. And I'm here representing John Mills, who is our sesquicentennial chairperson for our sesquicentennial minutes. And today's topic is Wayne's doctors and hospitals. And since I just got out of the hospital with a new hip, I guess that's why he chose me to be here. Wayne has Wayne Nankin Township has always been a good place to come for medical assistance. 1869 was when our city was incorporated. Our doctors were trained in the Civil War. We had surgeons, assistant surgeons, and our farmers, if you had a broken leg, lacerations, the doctors knew how to take care of you. We also had dentists and pharmacists in Wayne who also worked as doctors. In the 1920s, 1900s, our doctors were now getting medical degrees. We had a growing population. Our doctors were opening hospitals. We had Dr. Clarence Carpenter. He opened the Carpenter Hospital. We had the Nankin Clinic, Dr. James Carraway, the Nankin Hospital. The Parker Vincent Hospital and Clinic was on Main Street and Wayne Road. And Dr. Parker was also very instrumental in starting Annapolis Hospital, which was the People's Community Hospital Association, the PCHA. That hospital opened, I believe, in 1957, became Annapolis Hospital Oakwood, and which is now Beaumont Healthcare Systems, which is a very important part of our community. I mean, we have rehab facilities in Wayne, physical therapy facilities in Wayne. Now, I've heard, we're going to have a new memory care nursing home in Wayne, which employs a lot of people. So our hospital system has always been very important. It's a good reason for people to live in our city. We have a good dispatch. We have good emergency care through our fire department and police department. So you should feel secure being in Wayne, that you're going to be attended to. I want you to come to our museum. We have more information on the doctors and hospitals. If you want to see things from our past, we welcome all the new faces here to come to our museum. We're open Wednesdays from 10 to 7, Thursdays from 10 to 5. We had a ghost hunt in October, and we were on Channel 7, and somehow our museum, now I know it's not somehow, but we did pay for an ad. We're in the Wayne County 2019 Resource and Relocation Guide on page 13. We're the only museum in here, so please, I'm going to leave a few of these. We can get as many as we want. So we kind of made the big time a little bit. So there is our ad for the Wayne Historical Museum. So please come and join us. And also, my last thing I want to push, we are having a sesquicentennial tea on March 30th. There are still a few tickets left. We're going to have the Harmonytown Men's Barbershop Course entertaining us. Men and women are invited. Victoria's Tea Salon, who is a Wayne businesswoman, is catering the event. So it's going to be a very beautiful afternoon tea. Everything is going to be very elegant. We encourage you to dress in appropriate attire with your beautiful hats. And just join us. The tickets are $40, and this is a fundraiser, so please join us, and everyone is welcome. Thank you, and we'll see you next meeting, okay? Bye.
Through the chair, just one more.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Any
question? Sorry. Through the chair, just one more. I was thinking about this. We're in that time. It's kind of a public service announcement, but this is our winter-spring transition right now, and our DPW is overwhelmed with calls. This is the time when we either have snow, we either have rain, we either have sun, we either have wind, we either have melting, we either have flooding, we either have whatever it may be, tornado season, whatever it is, trees, all of it. We do have a limited department. They're doing the best that they can. We realize that, you know, the parks are going to start to show some maintenance that needs to be done. That'll be worked on through our committee at some point here. But I just ask for patience. I know that dirt roads, I know that people that live on dirt roads have a lot of concerns right now. I assure you the DPW is absolutely on top of it. We had 3 water main breaks this week alone. They're not done. And so, you know, those happen 24/7. We can't ever determine when there's going to be a water main break, and there's a lot of issues that come along with the water main break. I know that we all want to see everything done lickety-split, but that's just not reality. So I'm just asking for some patience during this time, and if you do see one of our workers or DPW workers out there, you know, say thank you, please. You know, it means a lot to them. They show up in, you know, 100-degree weather, and they show up in 25 below degree weather. But they are always there, and that's one of their mottos. So, and if you have any issues, please, you know, do contact them. They will get to your issue as soon as they can. I just want to make sure that that we just kind of have a little bit of an understanding that this transition from winter to spring always comes with a lot of more challenges. So, and anything you can do to help us out. If you see some garbage in the park or something like that, you know, please step up. You know, help us out, pick it up. But if you also do see something wrong, put that phone call into the department. You will get an answer, and they do answer fairly quickly for the limited staffing that they have. So I apologize for going on, but that is my public service announcement for this meeting at least. But I just want to say thank you to the DPW and all the staff for continuing to step up. That'll conclude my report.
Okay, thank you.
Public comments for matters not on the agenda. Citizens are to limit their comments or requests to 3 minutes. City Council asks that if you do have a question or concern, to bring it to the attention of the appropriate department whenever possible. If you feel the matter has not been resolved satisfactorily, you are encouraged to bring it to the attention of the city manager, and if still not resolved satisfactorily, to the mayor and the City Council. The mayor, the City Council, and the department heads may not respond to the questions at the meeting, but will respond by the next City Council meeting or as soon as possible once they have looked into the matter.
Ms. Brunick.
Council, Mayor, you know, and that's a good question because I always have questions and I don't know which department to call. See, you just reminded me of that, and the question's right here. But but who, if a department is on the city website, is the department responsible for the content on the website, or is somebody totally in charge of the website? And here's my question, then you can answer me, okay? I do this all the time. I love our website. I love our agendas, our minutes, and our videos. Right now, the earliest video on there is May 2nd, 2017. Now, the older ones were there. I don't know where they went. I'm not quite sure when they left. It could be a technical problem. I'm not sure. Seems like I last saw them around the first of the year. When I mean older, I mean 2016, something like that. I even wrote notes here. I also checked on YouTube, I'm sorry, this afternoon to say, okay, well, maybe they're there. They're just not listed on our website. They're not there's nothing for 2015. There's nothing for 2016. The reason I bring up the older years is I thought council had a policy, and I could be wrong, and you'll set me straight, that we had so many years of the older videos on the website. Like I'm saying, the earliest one on there right now is May 2nd, 2017. So if you could check into that, I'd really appreciate that. And then tell me if I have a problem with the website again, who do I contact? What department do you call? And you'll let me know that too. Thank you.
Anybody else? Mr. Powell.
Lenny Powell. I just got a couple things coming up. With it being Autism Month for April, I scheduled a autism forum, not knowing it was April. We're going to have Jason Rockwell from Total Spectrum come out and talk about autism at HYPE Saturday the 23rd at 9:30 a.m. He comes with 15 years experience in this, with autism and that, and he's coming out. He's a regional director, and he's coming out for free. So anybody that wants to come, it's going to be at HYPE at 9:30 on the 23rd, and banquet rooms 3 and 4 at HYPE. The next one is we're bringing CPR training to the city on the 24th, Sunday, at Wayneland Eagles Club. We have 2 classes right now. 1 o'clock is just basic BLS and AED. And the second one is at 4:30, which is BLS, AED, and first aid. So if you want to get in on that, I'm on Facebook. You can hit me there and let me know that you want to come. And the third thing we're planning is April 20th. We're going to do Wayne Towers again for a meal for Easter. We started this with Thanksgiving. Went well. We had 75, 80 people. Then we did it for Christmas. We had 110, 125, and we're planning on doing it for April 20th, which is on a Saturday at 4 p.m. If you want to get involved, just contact me. If you want to donate food, I got it on the Facebook, what I need, and that's it.
Anybody else?
Item 10, items for next agenda.
Anybody? Okay, go ahead and move the.
Item 11, consent calendar. 11A, approve Planning Commission minutes of February 12th, 2019.
Mr. Council.
Motion to approve without exception.
Support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Comments from members of the City Council.
Okay, Councilwoman Skiff.
Thank you. Just a few things tonight. I just wanted to thank the chief on his permanent now chief position. Well done and congratulations. I also just wanted to let everybody know about my baby update. My grandson was born March 10th. 7 pounds, 8 ounces at 4:47 in the morning. So Logan John Reith is here and doing well, and Mom is as well. So with that, I'll just end and thank you very much.
Okay. Congratulations. Councilman Webster.
Thank you, Mayor. Chief Strong, congratulations. The department's lucky to have you. We look forward to working alongside you. So I wanted to touch on what City Manager Nasserini said about cleaning up the parks. Especially now with all the snow melting, you're going to see a large influx of trash. So now is certainly the time. If you see something, definitely try and pick it up, and hopefully that that ambition spreads to others. On our last Parks and Trails meeting, which was March 12th, we actually did set a schedule for park cleanups. And what we kind of decided was we're not really going to be able to hit all the parks. I think we could all agree that we're going to kind of burn people out if we try to hit every park. So we did go through, we kind of divided up the parks amongst the Parks and Trails Committee, and we just decided what probably would need the most attention. So tentatively, this is the schedule that we've set up. We're going to be doing a cleanup at Seroptimus on May 4th, Washington Trail, May 18th, Avondale Park, June 1st, Walls Park, June 22nd, and Forest Park, July 13th. Now we may add something to that at some point. We're going to see how these couple go. These are all going to be from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. So if anybody's interested in signing up, we are working on getting a table for those to sign up. We will be creating events to share on Facebook and things of that nature. And we also are going to be painting the remainder of the pavilions that we did not get to last year. And that is going to be on Sunday, April 14th. We're going to be doing some touch-up at Civitan Park, and we're going to be finishing the pavilions at DeMario and Rotary 2. And those are also going to be from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. So the more help that we have on those days, the quicker that we can get this done. As far as the April 14th painting the pavilions, that's really going to depend on the weather at this point. Hopefully it's a good day for us, but this is Michigan, so we'll see what happens. And with that, I'll pass.
Councilman Wagner.
Thank you. Just wanted to say congratulations to Chief. Also wanted to again say thank you to Eileen for really stepping up on a moment's notice and taking over. With that, that's it. Thanks.
Councilman Dowd.
Thank you, Mayor. Just want to thank everybody on the efforts for updating the ordinances. I think everybody agree we're well overdue on getting some of these things moving forward to the time. Also, Chief, congratulations. This is certainly going to be a learning and growing process for you, and I'm sure you're looking forward to it. And with everybody that stood up and congratulated you, I think the city's behind you 100%. Eileen, got a part-time job available here if you need it.
I appreciate that.
And Tina, welcome home. With that, I'll pass.
Okay. Councilman Miller.
Thank you, Mayor Racy. These past few weeks, I've gone and attended a few different events and meetings. One was with the Wayne County State of the Union Address. The other was a Senior Alliance. Another was a meeting at a mosque in Dearborn with the Arab community. And another one was with the Hoover Elementary students. I had the opportunity to be able to spend time with them and read a book with them because of March being March Reading Month. Many of these leaders talked about some of the progress that's going on in our region, in our community. They also talked about the diversity, the importance of diversity, the importance of unity, the importance of accepting each other for who we are, looking at the person next to you and realizing that we are all different. We all have the same wants and needs in our souls. When I went to that elementary school that day, I will never forget this. This stood out in my mind. I asked them off-the-cuff question, what would you like to see better in Wayne? All their hands rose up eagerly, telling me the parks, safety in our neighborhoods. They also mentioned there was another one I just forgot. But the last one that stuck in my mind that really kind of caught me off guard was when they said respect. And I thought, these are 9 and 10-year-old children that, you know, they see and watch what's going on in our community. They understand. They feel this as a concern. Just like the state, local, regional leaders do as well in these meetings that I went to. Tonight, as a resident, I get it. I understand that. I encourage the students in any of our schools to write us a letter. Tell us what you think we can do it better in Wayne. You are just as important in this community as the adults that are sitting in this room, and maybe even more so. This is their community as well. So, with that, I think it was important, the message that I got from these meetings, these individuals, that we need to start learning how to respect, acknowledge, and understand each other better if we are to build a truly better community for each of us. Tonight, I was reminded that we have a ways to go. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mayor. Not much tonight. Just congratulations, Chief Strong. Thank you, Eileen, for the time you put in here and the help that you've given us. I want to thank the whole staff. The staff just goes without the recognition they deserve. Mike Biden worked so hard on these ordinances. I emailed Ed Queen about some problems. He got right back to me. Everybody is so helpful and so great. So I want to thank the whole staff, from our city manager right on down to the lowest person, whoever that might be. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you. I'm going to answer Ms. Bunnick's question tonight. So your question upsets me, not from you asking it, but that they're gone. This was done without the city manager's knowledge before that, and the clerk's office decided to take them down, and they were all taken down, erased, and then all the DVDs were destroyed before we found out, and I was very upset about it. Myself and other council members were using that as a guide for us to be able to use for stuff. So that really bothers me that it was removed, and we don't have any way to retrieve it. So that we talked about it. You probably, if you go look at the meetings, it was talked about, but that's what happened. But I do, and I'll talk to the city manager about it. I think we do need to change the policy. I think we made it to where it was 5 years, and I think we should make it indefinitely. Something I can talk to her about adding to the agenda in the future. I think that's something we should look at, because I think that's a problem. I have no problem, if there's a certain time, I think that we could even give the DVDs or those digital files to the museum, and they could have them there as an archive. Yeah, so somewhere they could go somewhere. I don't think that we should have destroyed them at the time, and I think the council should have been told about it before that happened, and the city manager. I just happened to get a tip about it. Somebody asked me about it, and then started asking about it, and it was already too late. So it pains me about that. So that's a subject that's really sore to me. The other person you asked who to talk to, if there's questions on the website, that would be Jeff Martin, our IT person. His email is jmartin@cityofwayne.com, and his number is 721-2000, extension 1537. And then Miriam Cady from the Wesleyan Relay for Life gave me a flyer. I got him from the council to pass out. And then if there's residents that are interested in picking them tonight, they can. June 8th is the Wayne Westland Relay for Life. June 8th and 9th at between 11 a.m. and 7 a.m. at Central City in Tanton Park in Westland, and it's free and open to the public, and it's definitely something worth going to if you've never been to a Relay for Life event. I have a few other things. We're also going to be having, at some point this summer, we'll have a play structure building day or two for the structure at Rotary Park 2. We're getting close to having final plans. I'm sorry, Rotary 2, yeah, Rotary 2. But that'll be, the current structure's already taken down, and they're finalizing the plans on that, and we should have something in the next couple of weeks. They had a changeover of presidents at the hospital, and we're going through a couple different steps, but it's actually, through this process, is actually getting a larger structure than we originally were looking at, so we'll wind up with a better product in the end. I also did a few things, just to mention a couple of things I was involved in this week. I was part of a focus group for Beaumont on the health needs of our city, which was very interesting, and in the footprint of what Beaumont is doing, and definitely a lot of really positive things came out of that. I also attended the State of the County this last week, and if that's something you're interested in, you can go on the county's website, and the whole thing is out there, and you can watch it on video. It's definitely worth seeing some of the things that are going on in the county, and be paying attention to what some of the things that are going on. There's a lot of positive things happening. And then one of the things I wanted to ask for the entire council, that just to remind, if you've got questions that, before the meeting, please try to contact an email or call the administration to get your questions answered, so they're not put on the spot. At least give them a heads up what the question is, so they can do a research before they get here, if they need to have, so they can have your answers when you get to the council table. It just makes everybody feel better about it, and get you the right answer that you're looking for. So if you could do that, I'd appreciate that. And then I'm going to close with something really positive. I've had a number of people in the last week come up to me and tell me how their property values have gone up in this last time, and it's some in one part of the city up to $30,000. And I just want to tell you, that's a very positive thing that's going on in our community. It's something we've been looking for, and it's a really positive sign on everybody that's been working hard to turn the city around. So I want to thank everybody for that. So with that, I can Tuesday at 6. Yep. And then I too want to congratulate the chief on becoming the chief. I think that this process, I like the process that we went through this time. Hopefully the councils in the future will do the same. I think that was a more fair way to look at everything, and it really, I think it challenged both the candidates in the process, and I think they're both going to be better officers for doing it, and I think we did the right thing for the community. So I appreciate you guys both going through that, and we had two great candidates, and it's hard, but you have to pick one, but it's very positive that we have two great guys in our working for us, and congratulations again, and congratulations on your retirement again.
My re-retirement.
Yep, your re-retirement. So okay, with that, can I entertain a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
Did I have support? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.